In 1974, one team scored a goal in the World Cup final before their opponents had even touched the ball. 14 passes, 80 seconds, 1-0. They were the most beautiful team football had ever seen, and they would lose anyway. This is the story of the greatest team to never win the World Cup, and the question that still haunts the sport 50 years later. How do you lose when you've already won? To understand why this hurts, you have to understand what they built. Before 1974, football was simple. You had a position. You stayed in it. Defenders defended. Attackers attacked. The map of the pitch was fixed. Then a club from Amsterdam, Ajax, and a national team in bright orange tore that map to pieces. They called it total voetbal, total football. The idea was radical to the point of madness. Anyone could play anywhere. A defender could surge forward and become a striker. A winger could drop back and defend. 11 players moving like a single organism, constantly swapping, constantly suffocating you of space. And at the center of it all, a thin, chain-smoking genius named Johan Cruyff. Not the fastest, not the strongest, but he saw the game 3 seconds before everyone else on the pitch. He didn't run to where the ball was. He ran to where it was going to be. And in the summer of 1974, they didn't just play this way, they weaponized it. West Germany, 1974. The Dutch arrived as outsiders, talented, sure, but unproven on the biggest stage. What happened next was a massacre dressed up as football. Uruguay, beaten. Bulgaria, beaten. Argentina, a serious side, dismantled 4-0. Cruyff scored goals that looked like they had been choreographed. In one moment against Sweden, he invented something the world had never seen. He dragged the ball behind his own standing leg and spun away from a defender in a single motion. They named it after him. The Cruyff turn. 50 years later, kids on every continent still practice it. Then came the semi-final. Brazil, the defending champions, the kings of the world, stood between the Dutch and the final. And the Netherlands didn't just beat them, they replaced them. 2-0, a symbolic passing of the crown. The most beautiful team on earth was now the most beautiful team that had ever existed. They had not just won matches, they had won the imagination of the entire planet. The final was a formality. Everyone knew it. They knew it. If you're the kind of person who believes the forgotten stories are the ones worth telling, that's the whole reason this channel exists. Subscribe to The Lost Pitch and stay with me, because everything you just heard, it was about to fall apart in the cruelest way imaginable. July 7th, 1974, Munich, the Netherlands versus the host nation, West Germany. The whistle blows, and the Dutch do something no team has done before or since in a World Cup final. They take the kickoff and they simply keep the ball. Pass after pass after pass. The Germans chase shadows. 14 consecutive passes. Cruyff finally takes it himself, slices through the heart of the German defense, and is brought down in the box. Penalty inside 2 minutes. 1-0 to the Netherlands. West Germany hadn't touched the ball. And here, right here, is where the greatest team in history made their fatal mistake. They didn't want to just win. They wanted to humiliate. Having gone ahead, they slowed down. They started toying with the Germans, passing the ball around, trying to make a statement, trying to rub it in. Arrogance dressed as artistry. West Germany did not care about beauty. They cared about winning. And slowly, ruthlessly, they clawed their way back. A penalty of their own. Then, just before halftime, Gerd Muller, the deadliest poacher who ever lived, swiveled and tucked the ball into the corner. 2-1. The most beautiful team in the world spent the entire second half searching for the goal that would save them. It never came. The final whistle blew. West Germany were world champions. And the Netherlands, the team that had redefined the sport, walked off with nothing. And that should be the end of the story. A great team that lost a final. It happens, but that's not why we still talk about them. Here's the strange truth about the 1974 Dutch. The team that beat them, West Germany, were world champions. And yet, ask any football fan alive today to describe that German side, and most of them couldn't name 3 players. But the team that lost? Their orange shirts hang in museums. Their tactics are taught in every coaching academy on earth. Pep Guardiola, the most influential coach of the modern era, built his entire philosophy on what those Dutchmen did in a single summer. They lost the final, but they won football itself. Cruyff was once asked about the defeat, and he said something that defines this entire team. He said that there is no medal better than being acclaimed for your style. He genuinely seemed to believe that being remembered as beautiful mattered more than being remembered as champions. So was it worth it? Did the arrogance that cost them the trophy also create the legend that made them immortal? Would we even be talking about them today if they'd simply won, dully, like so many champions before them? That's the haunting paradox of the greatest team to never win the World Cup. The loss is the reason we remember them. The trophy would have made them champions. The defeat made them legends. The Netherlands of 1974 are the most famous team to never win the World Cup. But they are not the only ones. There is a team unbeaten for 4 years, the most dominant side football had ever seen, who walked into a final as overwhelming favorites and lost to a result so shocking it is still called a miracle. That story is next. Subscribe to The Lost Pitch so you don't miss it. Because on this channel, we don't tell the stories of the winners. We tell the stories the trophies tried to forget.